Welcome everyone, and today we're talking about the meta in Godzilla Battle Line for Season 3. Now, as anyone who's playing will tell you, the meta right now is kind of absurd. It basically comes down to whose Godzilla Ultima or Ghidorah is the most powerful. And, that can be a problem on the battlefield for a lot of players who maybe don't have those units or having a tough time countering them. And I will say, before I even start the video, the units we're going over today are Ghidorah and Mothra in the same section, Godzilla Ultima, and Jaguar, as I've seen repeatedly that these are the four monsters that are causing the most problems for players. In addition, I want to also add, I will be providing a list of counters, however, they might not work for you. And I want to say that because if there's a level 6 Ghidorah on the field and your Godzilla Ultima, who I will have listed as a counter, is only level 1, he's gonna get smoked. So I just want you to know before we get into the list, before I start getting comments saying I used these counters but it didn't work, right now the health and damage on Ghidorah and Ultima are very, very high. So if your opponent has an extremely high level Ghidorah, like a level 4, 5, or 6, and your characters can't match those stats, you might just lose, and there might not be anything you can do about it. However, if you are at a similar power level across the board, your units and your opponent's units, then this guide is going to be able to help you kind of work around some of those units and try to get you some more wins. Without any more waiting, I want to jump straight into the list of the top meta units right now and how to counter them. First on the list is Ghidorah, and before I do his counters, I want to say that all of Ghidorah's counters can also be used for Mothra as well. I didn't want to include Mothra on this list in her own right because her counters are exactly the same, so Ghidorah and Mothra can be grouped into this section. The best counter to Ghidorah or Mothra that aren't Ghidorah or Mothra is Godzilla Ultima. Right now, Ghidorah and Ultima are the two best units in the game, and with Ultima's range and his new health and attack buff that he received in the 4-star update, he's almost unmatched in every sense of the word. He'll be cross-mapping units from all over the place, his damage is great, his attack time is great, and if you can just get him to eye down Ghidorah, he can hit him from such far range it doesn't even matter. Godzilla Ultima right now is one of the best units in the game, and I highly recommend if you have him at a high level that he is immediately slotted into your deck. Next up is Manila. Manila is 2 cost and had gotten an insane buff from this season where his stun speed is now every 0.6 seconds. So every 1.2 seconds you get 2 stuns. So almost 2 stuns a second is pretty solid, and he might not be doing any damage or the most damage, but him being able to stun Ghidorah temporarily, huge benefit to your team. 2 stuns virtually every 1 second is really solid, and it can stop Ghidorah from just doing a boatload of damage to your units and can give units like Godzilla Ultima or some of the other counters on this list a little bit of extra time to put some damage into Ghidorah. So next up we have 2 low-key counters for Ghidorah that are not seeing too much use, but I have personally found success with one of them, and then I have been told of success with the other. So the one that I'm using myself is Mechagodzilla. Now, to be fair, I have a pretty high level Mechagodzilla. I've been playing since the first day of global launch, and Mechagodzilla had been my leader all up until this season. So my Mechagodzilla is level 21, and I can, in about 4 hits, kill a level 2 or 3 King Ghidorah with my Mechagodzilla. So I'm not saying that your Mechagodzilla might be the answer, but I'm finding great success in mine. He's a 4 cost, he can attack air and ground units, and he can withstand Ghidorah's gravity beams at a high enough level to get some shots in. So him plus Manila or him plus Ultima can put in a lot of damage on Ghidorah. Next up is Moguera, and even after his nerf, I'm being told on my YouTube comments and in my Discord DMs that people are finding great success using him fighting against Ghidorah. So they are not putting Moguera straight up against Ghidorah in a one-on-one fight. What they're doing is waiting for Ghidorah to attack another unit like their leader or singular point Godzilla or what have you, and then they're throwing Moguera behind Ghidorah just to get in some good chip damage. I haven't used this myself, however I have gotten many messages saying that people are finding success with Moguera, so if your Moguera is a high enough level, try it out, give it a shot. Maybe you can be doing some damage against the rampant series of King Ghidorahs that are ruling the meta right now. And finally, for the flying section, I just wanted to put in an honorable mention of the Markalite cannon. We rated it pretty low in our community tier list. However, I'm being told if your cannon is between the levels of maybe 20 and 25, you can two-shot a level 6 King Ghidorah. I haven't tested this myself, I've only just heard this from others who have Mark-like cannon at that level, so I figured it was worth as an honorable mention, but maybe not a solid counter since I don't think many people have it leveled up to that degree. Next up is Godzilla Ultima. Ultima is a bit easier to counter than Ghidorah and Mothra for the sole purpose that he does not fly. He is a ground unit, and there's plenty of really great ground units that you can use to counter him, so I'm just going to go over what I think are the best 4. Number 1 is Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar, obviously a meta unit right now, great on the ground, he's very powerful, he can wipe out swarms in one hit, and he can attack multiple units in one go, plus he gets 2 deflect. Now, Godzilla Ultima's beam will only hit for one of his 2 deflects, so that gives Jet Jaguar 2 free hits to move closer to Ultima, and eventually start just putting out damage, because he can attack a lot faster than Ultima, and once he gets right up in his face, that is great to see. Next up is Godzilla 89, and if you played last season, you probably have him leveled up to a significant amount. 89 can attack flying units, but he's a great attacker for ground-based units and leaders, and as soon as he gets up into Ultima's face, it's like a 1 or 2 shot depending on the level. Ultima just cannot keep up with the damage and speed at which Godzilla 89 can attack. 89 is a great counter for all ground-based units, and I highly recommend using him against a Godzilla Ultima. Next is King Caesar, and he makes this list because he is great at killing the pre-evolution units. As soon as you see someone drop a Mothra larva or a Godzilla Terrestris, if you throw King Caesar out in the field and he gets his rush going, he can do a crazy amount of damage. I have mine at level 15 or 16, and when he hits with the rush, he's doing about 1,000 damage, and that'll kill a Mothra larva in one hit, almost guaranteed every time, and Godzilla Terrestris will do a ton of damage to his health, and then it's just a matter of time before King Caesar takes him down all the way. So King Caesar is not too great against Godzilla Ultima himself, but is a good way at stopping Terrestris from evolving into Ultima. And finally, we have the Komacurus. Not the most powerful unit these days, however, if you can get Godzilla Ultima distracted by Jet Jaguar, having the 3 Komacurus just laying a bunch of damage to Ultima is great. 3 units, and since Ultima is a single target attacker, he'll have a little bit of a time before he can finish them all off if it's by himself. So the Komacurus aren't an amazing unit, however, if you're doing some quick damage and Ultima's distracted, they're the way to go. Finally, we have Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar probably has the most counters on this list, so I'm going to go through them and break down kind of how they all work out, because they're all a little bit different. So the first one is Godzilla 2021. A lot of people are just getting G21 for the first time, and a lot of people still don't have him, but the people that do have him at a high level are having some great results against Jet Jaguar. With Godzilla 2021, his ability to produce a constant stream of damage immediately takes down Jet Jaguar's shields. As soon as it touches Jet Jaguar, in only about a second or 2, his shields are completely gone, and he'll just start taking damage directly. 21 is great for just removing Jet Jaguar's shields instantly, and that is exactly what you want to do to try to beat Jet Jaguar. Next is Godzilla 89, and right before recording this section, one of the mods on the Discord had provided some great information regarding Jet Jaguar versus Godzilla 89, so I'm just going to read it off to you, and you can make your decisions on if you're going to use 89 as a counter or not. Jet Jaguar's HP is 1,549 at level 5, which most people that have him are at because of the Jet Jaguar event last season. Godzilla 89 can one-hit kill Jet Jaguar at level 23 when his attack is 1592. Anything below that for Godzilla 89 will take 4 hits to kill Jet Jaguar, which is over 10 seconds of Godzilla getting hit by other units. So Godzilla 89 is a great way to take down Jet Jaguar if you have him at a high level. Just be wary, in a large team fight, 89 may lose because he's not doing damage fast enough, but on a one-on-one, he's probably a good bet against Jet Jaguar. Next is Godzilla Ultima, which I don't really need to explain. If you've played this game against Godzilla Ultima, you know what his deal is. He has the range, he has the power, and he can burst through Jet Jaguar's shield in 2 hits. Granted, it might take a little bit for Jet Jaguar to get over there. However, Jet Jaguar may be out of range to attack Ultima, but Jet Jaguar may be in range for Ultima to attack him, so that's something to consider. Next up is the Unmanned Train Bomb, and I know this is not seeing a lot of play, but I thought I would mention it because it hits twice. It hits once with the initial tracks, and it hits a second time with the explosion. So one direct hit with the Unmanned Train Bomb against Jet Jaguar will completely remove his shields. Not maybe the most effective strategy, but I figured it's something to mention at a lower level when players are using a lot of the Unmanned Train Bombs. This can be a good way to clear out a low-level Jet Jaguar. And finally, the most obvious counters to him are air units. Mothra, Ghidorah, Rodan, Batra, the helicopters, what have you. Jet Jaguar cannot hit air units. He can only hit ground units and facilities and vehicles and whatnot. So anything in the air is gonna just run through him. It's gonna take a little bit to get through his shields, but once you do that, he can't do anything about it. So if you're flying above Jet Jaguar, you're probably in a good spot. And there you have it. Those are all of the main counters to these meta characters. So I hope this helps you when you're organizing your deck and thinking about what units you want to level up or not. I understand that with the way the game is right now, if you're not pulling Terrestris or Ghidorah or Jet Jaguar from your maps, it's hard to level them up and it's hard to stay competitive. So hopefully that with a little bit of help from this video, you'll know what units to level up and what could possibly give you the edge in battle. I'm not saying that these are guaranteed wins, but they are some of the closest bets you have to countering some of these insanely overpowered units. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking it all the way through this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.